All right, so we've talked about the various elements of internal control for cash receipts, disbursements. We've talked about the bank account as a measure of internal control. And now we're going to talk about this thing called a petty cash fund, okay? So sometimes it's not convenient to go and retrieve a paper check for certain small in-office purchases. You've got some examples over here: office donuts, maybe some cleaning supplies if we just need, let's say we need one bottle of Windex, that's the only thing we need, or we need to send some sympathy flowers and time is of the essence, so on and so forth. In these situations, we might decide that we don't want to write a check. An electronic funds transfer is not feasible either, and so we will use a petty cash fund. It says here, let's see where we at. It says there's often a designated employee who is responsible for the petty cash fund, and they will generally use a process of issuing cash tickets to the person who takes the money. Say if we're going to go up and buy donuts and we spend $7 on our donuts, the designated employee may say, well, you know what, I tell you what, sign this ticket for $10 and bring me back the receipt for the donuts and the change, okay? And then finally it says petty cash is an impressed account. What that means is we replenish petty cash as we use the money in the account. The money only goes out for business purposes, and when it is replenished strictly for the purpose of bringing it back to whatever amount we had initially set up for the account. Maybe it's $100, $200, whatever the case may be. So the first thing we have to do if we want to be able to use a petty cash fund is to set one up, and we've got a very, very basic example here. This is all we do. This company, they're going to start a petty cash fund with $200 in it. So they write a check to the petty cash custodian, get the $200 cash, and the journal entry would just simply be a debit to petty cash, because petty cash is an asset account. Assets go up with a debit. Cash has gone down. Now cash has not really gone down. We've just moved it around a little bit. We've moved it from our regular cash account into the petty cash account. Okay, so very, very easy to set up. Here we have an example of several things. The first thing we have an example of is a petty cash ticket. So these tickets are held by the fund custodian, okay, somebody with the initials MAR. So they're going to date it. They're going to put the amount that they authorized, that they gave whoever it is, in this case somebody by the name of Lewis Wright. He got $60 for letterhead invoices. Maybe they needed these letterhead invoices in a hurry and didn't want to mess with the check. That's fine, I guess. And then we have an indication of what account ultimately is going to be charged for these, okay? And both individuals sign the ticket. Down below, this is a separate thing here. So an imaginary line right through here. We have the petty cash log, and this has all of the transactions that we have run through petty cash. We've got some dates over here. Looks like we've got different employees who are taking the money out. Looks like George took money out a couple of times, Jesse took money out a couple of times, Sarah, so forth. Let's see here. We have a location of where the money is going to be spent, what the purpose is. Notice we've got a couple, looks like, of fund custodians here, JN, 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 and then somebody named BL. So again, the cash out is here. The cash in would be the change. So just to give you an example, looks like they bought some milk. The milk actually cost $5.58. So they took $6, they brought back a receipt for $5.58 and change of 42 cents. So even though they took $6 out, the balance is going to show 194.42 because they put the change back in. Okay, a couple of these looks like they knew the exact balance before, so there's no change going back in. All right. Sometimes the way this will work is the employee will actually just pay the money out of their own funds, right? And then they will bring the receipt to the petty cash custodian, and they will be reimbursed the exact amount at that time. So there's no need, in those situations, there would be no need for this column here for the change. All right? So replenishing the petty cash fund. There's no money naturally going into this. So if all the money is just going out, eventually at some point it's going to start running low. Okay? So it says on August the 31st, the petty cash fund holds $118 in cash, and we have $80 in petty cash tickets. So if we take 118 and we add 80 to it, well, that's 198. That's less than the $200 that we initially set up. So it says you can see that $2 is missing. Okay? So what we have here is just a reconciliation, our beginning 200 plus and then we've got the cash over here with a debit balance, petty cash tickets of 80, total cash accounted for 198, and then the amount missing is $2. So let's see, how do we handle that? Yeah, so, okay. We had $118, if you recall. $118. That's what we had on hand. We had these tickets for 80. Okay, so looks like what we have going on here is we're going to make an entry to account for the fact that out of the $200 that we initially had, we no longer have 82 of those dollars. So remember that office supply transaction for $60? We're going to debit office supplies. This is an expense account. Okay, so all expenses have debit balances. Also, we had somewhere along the line a delivery expense of $20. And when we are short, we're going to treat that essentially as a miscellaneous expense, at least for purposes of our discussion. So we're also going to debit the $2 here that we're short. We're going to credit cash for $82. 60 plus 20 plus 2 is 82. And this is to replenish the petty cash fund. When we make this journal entry, the petty cash fund has $200 in it once again. Okay? All right. That is going to be the last video for this chapter. There are some more slides. As you can see, we're on slide 49 and 55. The remainder of the slides do have some very good information on them that helps you understand the concept of managing cash. However, there will not be a video over those slides. You are free to review those, however.